sync with this, which is, look, we're the Saudi Arabia of coal. We have 263 years left of oil at the current rate of extraction. We've got 160 years left of natural gas. Let's get to it. Let's employ people in drilling and mining and processing, and as well as refining, so we can create more jobs and lower the cost of energy here in this country. The president doesn't think that works. He makes fun of drill, baby, drill. He sort of mocks it. Yet, I can tell you, when I was in the United States Senate 6-7 years ago, the price of natural gas was $12. The price of natural gas now is $3.60. Why? Because we found in a huge new gas field, the second largest in the world, mostly under Pennsylvania. And we are drilling 3,000 to 4,000 wells a year. And guess what happened to natural gas prices? We were building LNG terminals on the East Coast, liquefied natural gas terminals, to import natural gas from the Middle East. Now we're exporting natural gas. All right, so the answer is yes. If we do have more domestic production, we can keep prices down, and electric prices are key. The president, this gets to the fourth thing because it's combined with energy and regulatory reform. The president's going to shut down 60 coal-fired power plants because of a new regulation they're putting in place on particulate emissions from coal-fired plants. And if you look at these regulations on ozone and particulates and the thing the president wants to do, it's going to cost 7 to 10 million jobs to implement these regulations. It's going to dramatically drive up the cost of energy. Why? To get from 75 parts per billion to 60 parts per billion. No science is done saying that that's a cost-benefit analysis. It's just ideology. It's radical environmentalism, all focused on global warming. Okay? This is the kind of destructive policy that this administration is focused on. We need to get rid of those regulations. I'll repeal every regulation that the administration has put forward that cost businesses over $100 million and replace it with things that will work with the business community so they can be profitable. And the last thing is labor costs. I don't want to do anything about labor costs. Let that be a private sector negotiated market thing. States like South Carolina that are right to work are going to have a bigger advantage than over states that aren't right to work. Go out and compete. You've got states in this country now voting on whether to become right to work or not because they know they have to be competitive. So my feeling is on labor costs, we're not going to get the jobs that are huge labor-intensive manufacturing jobs. China's losing those jobs. They're losing them to other countries that can undercut China. They'll always go to the lowest wage. What the jobs we can get are the higher valued manufacturing jobs like you have here at BMW. We can get more of those types of jobs here that on the margin left, now on the margin can come back. Yes, sir.
Senator Santorum, how would you deal with some of the things that Ben Bernanke has done with the Federal Reserve as far as printing money or digitizing money to add liquidity? We already see the price of commodities going up, and in my opinion, I think we're going to be facing some inflation or perhaps even hyperinflation. What would you do to remedy that?
What I've talked about is right now the Federal Reserve has two requirements. They call them two charters. In other words, two obligations when it comes to their monetary policy. And the first, at the beginning of the Federal Reserve, they only had one, and that was sound money. That keep inflation low and do not allow deflation. That was the objective of the Federal Reserve. In the 1970s, I believe, Humphrey Hawkins added a second charter or second objective or mission of the Fed, and that was to keep unemployment low. To me, they are often conflicting, missions, and they lead to what we see today, which is a lot of people suspicious that the Fed is inflating the currency to keep unemployment down and going to be creating a bomb for us in the future of hyperinflation as a result of it. I don't know whether that's true or not. It certainly seems that way. I would say with the first quantitative easing that went in place, we were in a very, very risky deflationary environment, and so some quantitative easing made sense. QE2, not Queen Elizabeth II, but quantitative easing 2 was, to me, much more suspicious as to what their objective was. Here's the problem with the second mission of the Fed. The only reason the left put that in, and that's who put it in, is because they know that their fiscal policy and tax policy and regulatory policy kill jobs. Right. So they need someone to compensate for the bad job they do in creating jobs. Well, we shouldn't be using monetary policy to create jobs. We should use the political process, fiscal policy, tax policy, and regulatory policy, litigation policy. That's what we should have the levers to be able to dial up or dial down the free market system, not monetary policy. So my objective would be to go out and make the case to the Congress. If you give me enough votes, we can do it, to remove that second pillar, go back to sound money, and put the emphasis on the federal government, state governments, to be the place where where job creation is the focus, not the Fed. It would give people a sense that when Bernanke fuses more cash, he's doing it because of one reason. He's worried about deflation. And there's nothing worse. Inflation's bad, deflation's the worst. And so we can't have deflation, and so I would have more confidence in the Fed if I knew they only had one mission.